Hi guys, it's Matt, Blade Collector here. So basically I have seen Mike from Weapon Collector. I see his marbles build and I basically wanted to replicate his marbles build. I really liked the idea of building a bowie machete. So I got onto Heine Haynes and I really recommend that website. I've just bought an MKM Selena from them. Really love that knife. It was a bit of a treat to myself. Or a Chilena or whatever it's meant to be called. But I ordered that bowie. It's come and I'm going to get working on it. I'm going to rub the paint down, leave it in acetone just like Mike did. Video to follow. I won't actually show you me rubbing it down or placing it in the acetone. Mike left his in acetone for about 24 hours. I've tested a patch and within 20 minutes the paint's already coming off. So you don't, if you want to replicate this, necessarily need to leave it in there for 24 hours. It comes off after like 20 minutes of sitting in the acetone, comes off quite easy. Just like Mike, I used a chisel, etc. So yeah, I'm going to be replicating that. I'm going to be bringing you with me. I'll be showing you some of it. I'm looking to do as fancy a build as I possibly can with one, the tools I've got, and two, the skills I've got, which are not great. But yeah, really looking forward to getting the build. And I'll bring you with me, and hopefully I'll post this up, link this to Mike, and maybe he can give me a shout out on his YouTube channel with all of his followers. Alright, so hope you enjoy the build. Okay, so I've just put the knife in a vise and I've just snapped off the rear handle. I just need to beat these pins out now. Cut the tops of these off with a disc cutter or a hacksaw, and then I can start rubbing the blade down, ready for acetone. Okay, so the knife has been rubbed down on both sides, just giving it a key. The next step is to put it into, can't get that sticker off, next step is to put it into a tub of nail polish remover or something along those lines, and strip off this paint. So I'm going to leave that for 24 hours in a tray of acetone. Flat bar, which you can see here, to make the guard. I don't want to use brass. It's as easy to work with, almost, I guess, as this, but I just didn't want the brass look. I quite fancied just a standard aluminium look. So here's the flat bar. This is ultimately what I ended up with. This was just an offcut of the flat bar. Come on, focus. So here it is. I've done quite a good job with the slit there. It took me a long time. Sat there filing it on with these engineer files, drilling all the holes. It's a bit of faff, I'm not going to lie, but I kind of like that sort of stuff. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to that sort of thing. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. So that's what I did. Then I fitted it and I thought, how am I going to hold it on there? Now I know the handle holds it on there, but I wasn't happy with potential rattle in the future. So what I did is I thought, right, I'll solder it on there. Looked into soldering. It's going to be quite costly, buying all the flux and the right solder and torches, and because it's not just a soldering iron, you have to heat both metals and it can be quite faffy and you can ruin the heat treat. So I ended up coming up with another idea, and that is natural linen micarta. So I ordered this jute micarta online, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a guard out of jute micarta. So I ordered 2 micarta scales. They were like a fiver each. This bar was like 3 or 4 quid. So I ordered these. For the pair, it was like 5 quid. And I basically made a guard out of this. Much more easy to manipulate than this. It files down a lot easier for the slit. You just make a bit of a tidier job. So here's the knife as it currently stands with that micarta guard fitted. As you can see, it's actually quite a good job. That's the back end, it's epoxied in. Put on there with knife epoxy that I'll be holding the handle scales on with. But from the front, there is zero gap, really tidy, no need for any cover-ups or patches or leather or any of that stuff. It actually really works. So as you can see, blade's been rubbed down. I've left this a few days now. I did oil it, but it started to get a natural patina, which I'll rub off because you'll see I'm going to do some etch work on the blade with a forced patina with some sort of design that I won't tell you now. You'll see it as I do it, but I'm really psyched about that design. I'm going to darken these grooves again with some etching, which hopefully will look really good. So that's the knife. So plans for the actual knife itself. So I bought some of these little pins. They were like, I think it was like 4 or 5 quid, maybe a little bit more for these pins, if I can get one out. Come on. So this is how I'm going to hold the handle on, but as you can see in the end there, they are patterned. So these are known as mosaic pins. So I'll be placing that through the handle and the scales. And obviously with the epoxy glue, that's going to hold those on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those when they're polished up. It's going to look really good. Now the wood for the scales hasn't turned up yet. I'm still waiting for that to arrive, but what has turned up is these knife liners. So I'm going to have a visible tang on the knife, and these knife liners are going to sit in between the tang and then the scales on the outside with those pins running through the middle of it. I think it'll look really nice. I need to go and pick up some 1 centimeter alley tubing for the lanyard hole, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at now with the knife so far. So once those bits are turned up, I'll bring you back. It's going to be seconds for you, days for me, and we'll get the rest of this build posted up. Cool. Okay, so I've cut the liner. That's the liner underneath there, the red liner spacer. It's not focusing very well. So I'm going to leave that until tomorrow to set, get rid of all the excess glue. And then I'll fit the other liner onto this side here, let that set. Okay, so now I'll put the other side on. So that's both sides with the liner on there, just held them pinned in place, and we'll come back to that tomorrow. I've rough shaped scales, so they're rough shaped using a file and a Dremel, only very rough shaped, and then I'll fit those, drill the holes, fix the pins into place, and then I'll finish shaping and what have you on the actual blade itself. Look at that for a Bowie. What a beast. I really like them mosaic pins. They're going to look lovely when they're... Oh, come on, focus. They're going to look lovely when they're epoxied into place. There you can see the red liner. All of that needs grinding back to make it all nice and shiny and fit perfect, but I made the guard that you're looking at there, handmade that, everything's handmade. I've got a Dremel and a drill, that's my only power tools. So yeah, I'm really happy. Okay, so I've stuck the handles on. You can already see there that I've peeled some of the excess glue off. There's a bit more gap than I once originally thought there was going to be. When I fitted it up, it didn't quite show that much of a gap, so I'm going to have to see what I can do there. Studs are pretty much cut to the right size. And I've got a lanyard tube just under there. Yeah, so we're just going to leave that up now for a few hours, let that dry and chill out, and then we'll go and have a little look how we've done. Once I've done that, I can start cleaning all of these edges where it's been knocked, etc. up. Polish it all up, stain the handle, and we are good to go. Just need to trim, so you can see, trim the stud there. That needs just filing down, and then there's one under here for the lanyard tube which I've put in, which needs doing as well. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with the gapping on the back, because when I dry fitted it without the glue there was no gapping, so just have to see what it's like when it's dry. Okay, so I've just rubbed down the handle, ground down the pins, and I've just given it its first coat of linseed oil. Quite disappointed with the finish, to be honest. I made the mistake of mixing the epoxy for both sides at once, and the epoxy started to dry, and you can see the gap there. You can get your nail in it, but you can't feel it when you run your hands across it. Linseed oil is just going to dry. I'll leave that for a few hours before I put another coat on, and just keep polishing the handle and hopefully give a nice shine. Then we'll move on to the blade. The blade's been rubbed down again with WD-40 and sandpaper, just to get rid of any blemishes and scratches, and then I'll stain up the blade with a patina. Okay, so we've come inside the house. I'm in the kitchen, and I'm going to be placing a forced patina onto the blade. Now, the handle is looking really nice there, and my carter's looking really nice. There's a really rich colour coming from that zebra wood, so really pleased with that. Now, all you're going to need is just some spicy kind of mustard. Now, you can add some of this with vinegar, which I've done before on an open nail knife, which I will get around to doing a review for. But yeah, you mix it with a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of lemon juice, and the mustard, and mix it all up. The lemon juice really helps with the acidic burn etch into the blade. But I'm just going to try this one with mustard. So mustard, and then you're going to want some sort of Q-tip or cotton bud or whatever you want to call it, and you're going to be using this to spread like thicker lines. Then I've got basically one of these, so for really thin points and detail, we're going to use that. And then this end here we can use for doing perfect little dots or whatever it may be, right? Bubbles or whatever. Okay, so this is the mustard patina I've put on there. I mixed a tiny little bit of vinegar in there, and this is what I've done on one side, kind of like a tree patina. I'm going to leave this for about 10 minutes, and we'll come back to it and have a little look how it is, how it's turned out. As I say, it will only etch in around the edges where the oxygen meets the mustard, but it should look quite effective. Cool, I'll bring you back once I've cleaned it off. Okay, so here we are. I'm not as pleased with it as I'd hoped I was going to be. I've done better etching in the past, to be honest. It kind of looks a little bit too chunky in areas, too thick, but yeah, I'm relatively pleased with the overall finish. It's got a sheen to it because I've coated it in oil to protect the rest of the blade, because I've had to wash the blade down. Yeah, so that's basically my knife build. Gonna whack a lanyard on the end of it. Yeah, I'll put some stills up. Cool. Thanks for following me along. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to see if you do anything like this in the future. Cool. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, usual stuff, and I'll see you next time. Take care.